Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon. How's everyone in? Guys, come on in. Let's do this. Let's do this. It's time. Let's do this. My name is Oliver Velez, and I have been living in Medellín for 15 years. All right. I came here in 2010, and I came here on some business. I had a speaking engagement in 2010. Thank you. 2010. And I never went back to the States. So this is a very dangerous place, not for any other reason other than you may not go back. All right, who's here for the first time? Let's say for the first time? Awesome. I'm curious. If you actually traveled to Medellín just to hear me talk, I want to see you. Oh, one. Who else? Whoa. Nah. I really hope I don't mess this up. I really hope I don't mess this up. All right, guys. So today, what I wanted to do with you, I was actually over the last several days just trying to figure out, what am I going to speak about? What am I going to talk about that I haven't really spoken about? Because I have a lot of talks on Bitcoin out in the public domain, and I wanted to do something quite unique for the group. And I decided to actually share with you how I got the religion. I want to share with you what blew me away. I want to share with you what brought me to a point, an epiphany that completely radicalized my life. I thought I was out of the game, and this pulled me back in. And I'd like to share what led me to almost a religious-like moment regarding Bitcoin. Because at first, it was just another asset amongst many other assets. But I want to tell you that I went on a journey that made me realize that this is not just another asset. This is not something that you trade. This is not something that you buy for $1 and sell for $2. This is not something that you ultimately find a sell point and go back to US dollars for. This is more special than that. This is something that is outside of the domain of the human species. This is something that is perfect because no human being can touch it. No human being can touch it. No human being can ruin it. No human being can debase it. No human being can inflate it. No human being can steal it. No human being can confiscate it. This is something extraordinarily unique in the human experience, and I'd like to tell you or share with you how I came to that realization, how I realized that Bitcoin is our freedom. That is right, freedom. Now, in that title insinuates that we are not free, that Bitcoin is our freedom. So it implies that we're all not free. And I came to this realization that despite my success, despite my 40-year career, I was not free. Bitcoin made me free. And Bitcoin is the only option for freedom. Now, this might beg the question, Oliver, freedom, yeah, I understand you're saying Bitcoin's our freedom, but freedom from what? Freedom from this. I want you to look at this. This is the picture of the buying power of $1. Many of you have probably seen this image hundreds of times, but this is the picture of the buying power of $1 from 1913 all the way to the year I got Orange Pill, all the way to the year I got religion, all the way to the year where I understood that Bitcoin is freedom. 1913 to now. Now, I ask you, is that the picture of success? No. That is the picture of a failing system. That is the picture of failure itself. And I realized that all of my life, I was educated in some of the best schools in the United States. I was taught, I was indoctrinated to spend my life working for that picture. I was taught that my success in life would be judged by that picture, by how much of that picture I was able to accumulate. I was taught to spend virtually every waking moment of my life, giving my time, giving my effort, giving away my skill, my information, my knowledge, my education to other men, other things in exchange for that picture. And that's not a pretty picture. Then I realized that I was participating in a system that was crumbling, a system that actually made me poorer every 4 years of my life unless I ran a lot faster 4 years later than I ran 4 years before. I understood that I was dedicating my life to a system that was causing me to sink lower and lower and lower. And then I realized this is actually my life. That this is the picture of what I'm really experiencing in my life, but it happened so stealthily. It happened so slowly that we don't realize. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what you are experiencing right now, this minute, in your life, if you work for that. And so I realized I should not be working for this. I should not be exchanging who I am. I should not be exchanging time for this. I should not be exchanging my effort for this. I should not be giving away my skill for this. And that's what Bitcoin has been discovered for. Bitcoin has miraculously come into our existence in 2009 to give us an alternative, to give us an option, to give us a choice of what to surrender our life to. And this was my epiphany. And so I would like to go a little bit deeper in terms of how this came about. But before I do that, what I would like to do, if I can, is I have to give you a brief overview of my history, because this ties into what I need to do. So my father owned a taxi, and my father was a gold bug back in the 1960s and 70s. And for slightly over a decade and a half, my father illegally accumulated gold, 1 ounce of gold every single week of his life. And in the 1970s, gold skyrocketed to the upside for reasons which a lot of you might know, and it changed our lives. My father, with one play, took a lower middle class family out of Brooklyn, one of the most dangerous areas in the world at that time, and turned the family into being somewhat wealthy. Our cars changed, my house changed, my state changed, my neighborhood changed, my friends changed, my school changed. Everything in my life changed. And when I came a few years later, when I realized that my father changed the trajectory of a family with one play, gold, I knew that I wanted to do just that. I said, if my father can do this with one play, I want to do this with multiple plays over the course of my lifetime. I don't want to just do it once. I want to do it many times. And that birthed my dream to become a professional market participant, a professional market player. I placed my first investment in 1981. I bought a company called Eli Lilly. I still own it today, from 1981. My second play was McDonald's in 1983. 1986, I land my dream job on Wall Street. I become a NASDAQ market maker. Over a 7-year period, I gain a great deal of success as a NASDAQ market maker and believe at that time, in 1993, 1994, it's time for me to leave Wall Street and start my own firm. I start a company that was a high-frequency trading organization at the time, 1994, largely because I believed this thing called the internet was the future. That I believed that the internet was going to radicalize and revolutionize my trading industry. And so I branched off of Wall Street and I set up an internet-based high-frequency trading firm in 1994, the year that the internet first became legal in the United States for commercial use. A lot of people don't realize that the internet was illegal to use before 1994 in the United States. And that was my trigger to leave Wall Street and start my own firm. That firm became the second largest direct access trading firm in the United States. 1998, Barron's ranks at number one in the United States. And, by the way, I'm getting to the point, I promise, I apologize. And this attracts the eyes of Charles Schwab. Charles Schwab winds up sniffing around our firm, and it liked the technology that we had built for our high-frequency traders. We built this technology from the ground up, and they wanted to buy it. So we gave it to them for $498 million in 1998. Thank you. Now, this was a life-changing experience. It set me up for life, but it didn't stop me. What I did was not for money. I love the game. I love the action. I love the play. I continue to play the markets in these big ways. I took a chunk of those gainings. I felt that if Charles Schwab bought my crap for nearly $500 million, that this was a market top. I took a portion of those gains. I shorted all the dot-com stocks. Boom, the dot-com stocks crash, right? At the bottom of the market, I take those gains, and I take a chunk of those gains, and I put it into this fledgling company. I think you might have heard it. It's called Amazon in 2001, right? From Amazon, right, 2004, the first gold ETF was launched. My dad calls me up and says, "You know what to do?" I said, "Yes, Dad, I know what to do. This one's for you." I put half of my wealth into the first gold ETF in January 2005. I don't have that anymore. Bitcoin has taken over for that. But thank you. 2008, I was short the banks, and that was the big one. As you know, the collapse came, and this was the biggest play of my life. I got this right. And that's when I came to Medellín. I wanted to hang it all up and give up the game. I was finished. I was done, right? So what began to happen in 2016, I began to be a little anxious. And so I wanted to start getting back into the business again. And I started a trading operation here in Medellín, which spread all over Colombia first, and then all over Latin America. How many traders do we have now in Latin America, Juliana? All right, so by the way, she is the director of my entire Latin American division, Juliana. So got back in the game, started a brand new trading operation. Now we're up to 20,000 traders strong throughout all of Latin America. Now, why do I tell you all of this? It's because during this time, I had a growing number of my traders mention Bitcoin to me, and I felt it was a distraction. I would tell them, stop talking about Bitcoin to me. It's a distraction. We're living at the top of our game right now. I don't want any distractions. No one's to mention Bitcoin. And the crowd of traders in my organization would continue to talk to me. I started to release traders in my organization for mentioning Bitcoin to me. This is going all the way back to 2016, 2017. All right? Now, why is it so difficult for people like me from the traditional financial world to see the value proposition of Bitcoin? My partner in the deal I told you about, in the deal I told you about with Charles Schwab, I've been trying to orange pill him for the last 5 years, and he seems to not be able to see the value proposition of Bitcoin. I did not see the value proposition of Bitcoin for quite a long time. So why is it so difficult for us to not see it, especially if we come from the traditional financial industry, and especially if we've had some success? My friend finally called me up just the other day, and I felt like this must be the moment. All of my talks must have worked because he's calling me, which he stopped doing because he got tired of me talking to him about Bitcoin. And this is what he said. Oliver, another Bitcoin crash. See, I told you it had no intrinsic value. I said, dude, 90,000? We're crashing to the 90,000s now? 6 months we were crashing to 50,000. Now we're crashing to 90,000? But I realized this guy, as brilliant as he is, as smart as I believed myself to be, I realized that Bitcoin is not an IQ test. It's an ego test. You see, my friend will probably never adopt Bitcoin because I got Bitcoin at 3,000. And if he enters now, he'll get it at 100,000 plus. And that somehow bothers him. That somehow prevents him. If I wasn't in, maybe. Bitcoin is not an IQ test. It's an ego test. And it was an ego test for me. Who are these people to tell me what money is? I have made more money than any of you could dream of, I would say. And you come to me with this? That was all ego. Bitcoin is not an IQ test. It's an ego test. Now, here's the crash that my friend was talking about. There it is. Look at the arrow. See? The little baby. Oh, it's a little cute crash. It's beautiful. All right. Where are we now, by the way? 104? Look at the little baby. All right. Scary, right? No. All right. So, like I said, why most don't get Bitcoin? There are two reasons that I've come, because I've thought quite a bit about this. Two reasons why most don't see the value in Bitcoin. Now, here we get to the crux of what I want to share with you. It's money and slavery. You see, most people, especially the people in my position, successful on Wall Street, successful with what they assume to be money, we see it the least. We understand money less than everyone, despite maybe our wealth, despite maybe our riches. I believe that the first reason is because most people really don't understand what money is. And by extension of that, they cannot understand that if you are calling a money that is controlled and operated by another man, if you're calling that money, then you are a slave. If you are working for a money that is controlled and manipulated by some other man, you're the slave, and the controller of the money is the slave master. But you have to understand money first to bring yourself to the conclusion that we are operating in a modern slave-based system today. So let's go. The main question, we always must start here. What is money? And I'm going to cut right to the chase. Money is one simple thing at its core. Money is time. Think about this. You work on a job for a corporation or an organization or a company or an individual. You give 40 hours of your time. And in exchange for that time, that week, you receive what you think is money. That money is a representation of the time that you gave to the person, to the organization, to the institution. It is a symbol of your sacrifice, your time. You woke up that morning, you prepared, whatever. All of that time is built into the money. Your time is also imbued with your talent. So your time comes with all the talent that you have, all the knowledge that you have, all the information, all of your education, all of your skill set is inside of that time, and you give that gift away. Now, in exchange for giving that to someone, you receive a token called money, which represents the time imbued with all of your talents. This token is the symbol of your most special thing, your most valuable thing, which is your time. Now, what is time? Let's cut right to the chase. Time is the stuff that life is made up of. So think about this, guys. You're all just simply a block of time. We're all a block of time. And when that block of time disappears, we are no more, at least on this plane. Time is your most precious commodity. In fact, it's not even your commodity, it's your life. Time is the stuff that life, your very life, is made up of. Now, listen to me. If time is your life and money is time, then money is your life too. Money is time. You get money, which is a symbol of your time, and your time is your life. So your money is a symbol of your life. If you see anyone that squanders their money away, they are squandering their life away. If you find someone who's irresponsible with their money, they're irresponsible with their life, the very life that they have. It is the symbol of who they are. It is the most valuable symbol of all, because it's the symbol of all of the things that are imbued in your time. Time is your life. Money is time. And that life, anyone who controls the money you give your time with controls your life. If money is time and time is your life, then he who controls the money that you give your life for is your master. Money should never be in the hands of a human being. Money should never be controlled by another man. You should never have to work and give your life, your talent, your skill, your everything for a money that someone can mix up, create out of thin air, and give to you, because that makes you, your life, in the hands of the person that creates the money. They control the time. They control your time, which is also your life. Now, it's only in modern times that we have a system where man has created money. You see, throughout history, money was never created by a human being. Money was never in the hands of a human being. Money was always, for thousands of years, created by God. Cattle used to be money. Man can't create cattle. Man didn't create cattle, right? What else? Salt used to serve as money. Man didn't create salt. What else? Silver wasn't created by man. Gold wasn't created by man. Wise stones weren't created by men. Agri-beads weren't created by men. Seashells weren't created by men. Money has never been created by man. It is only recently that somehow men, groups of men, took control of the creation of money and blocked everyone from all the monies that can't be controlled. And this is done to enslave us. You enslave us when you control the money that we give our lives for. You wake up every single day of your life, and from the time you lift your head off the pillow, you are thinking in dollars. You are judging everything by someone else's money, another man's money. It's ruling your life. You judge whether something is worthy or not by a dollar price. You judge whether you can do something or not that you want based on a dollar price. You make all of your decisions based on a dollar. You go out and try to get dollars. You try to give things in exchange for dollars. Your whole life is dedicated to working for another man's money. And this is the slavery part. Now, modern day slavery, why we are all slaves under this system. A slave, let's define what a slave is. A slave is someone who does not own his time. If another man owns 100% of your time, you are a slave, and whoever owns the time, your time, is the slave master. So, by definition, a 100% slave is someone who does not own his own time. Okay? Now, and the second part of the definition, a slave, a 100% slave, is someone that 100% of the fruits of their labor from that time, it's not even theirs either. So not only is your time not yours when you're a slave, whatever that time creates or produced belongs to another man too. That is a 100% slave. This type of slavery used to exist. But remember, when 100% slavery existed, you can only apply that to small groups. You can't apply that to everyone. No one's going to buy into everyone, but you can conquer a small portion of human society and subject them to this brutal 100% slavery. But what if you wanted to enslave the entire world, not just one group? What would you do? You can't apply a 100% slave strategy. That's not going to work. Well, what would work for everybody? What if we could bring everybody under a slave-based system? What if we knocked it down? 80%? No, I don't think that's going to work. What if we knocked it down to 40%? What if we require everyone to give up 40% on average? I know taxes are different across different parts of the world, but this is an average. What if we could put everyone under the system where 40% of all of their time and 40% of all of what they produce from that time goes into the system, comes to us? So what would you call this? Would you call this free? 100% is certainly not free. Would you call this free? Or 40%? A 40% slave. I'm going to show you that it says 40%, but you're going to find out that it's actually more because there's a trick involved in here. So look, what plantation do you belong to, by the way? What plantation? Wait, which one? Which plantation? Is it the United States? Is it Canada? These are modern day plantations, guys. You are born by no choice of your own on a piece of land. You are immediately stamped and branded like a slave with a number. Why? Because this is a big ass plantation, right? You are branded with a number, a social security number, a cellular, right? You are forced and told that you must work on this plantation for a coupon that we create for this plantation. Other plantations have their own coupon, but you were born on this plantation and you must spend the rest of your life working for our coupon. We don't have to work for it, but you have to work every day of your life until you die for our piece of paper, our coupon. You will work for this forever here, just because you happen to be born on this piece of land. We give you no choice. And if you want to visit other plantations, you can. Maybe you have to seek permission. If we give you permission, we are going to brand you and let every other plantation know who you are owned by. You're my slave, and I want the world to know it. All right. All right. This is the system. Now, a lot of people on these plantations think it is possible to own something, but in truth, you are working your entire life to own nothing. Most of you, many of you might even have properties that you think are actually your own. You might own your property, yet the deed sits in some bank somewhere. And even if you happen to have paid your property off, you are still paying taxes forever until the day you die. Let me news alert. If you have to pay for something forever until you die, it's not yours. Do you understand this? You don't pay for something that is yours. Once it's yours, you should stop paying, but you will pay forever. Now, the plantation owners say, you know what? Just we can call it yours. We know it's really not yours, but we can call it yours. We'll let you say you own it, but I can take it anytime I want to. I can take it by eminent domain, and if you ever stop paying me, you'll find out who the real owner is. You're a sharecropper. We're sharecroppers. We're allowed to use the land. We're allowed to get a house on the land. We're even allowed to trade the houses back and forth with other slaves. As long as we keep paying, somebody's got to pay. They don't care which slave pays. You want to switch the property to another slave? That slave has to pay as long as they're paying. Now, what are they really extracting, though? They create the money. So is it the money that they need? They can create that. Why do they need it? It's your time. They're extracting your life. The paper, they can make that. That's your time. It's a representation of your very being that is being stolen. This is what Bitcoin frees us from. It frees us from this tyranny of us having to give 40% of our time, 40% of the fruits of our labor to a system that hates us. Now, you will work for this coupon for the rest of your life. From January to April or May, all of that is mine. The plantation owners say, the first 3 to 4 months out of every year belongs to me. You can have the rest, but the first belongs to me. Most people who work are working 4 to 5 months to pay their taxes and everything else they need to pay. And the rest is supposed to be theirs. So they pay out 40%. They pay out 40% back to the system. They keep 60%. All of your time, your effort, your knowledge, your experience, your education, your skill will be given to this coupon. You're dedicating your greatest value to get that piece of paper. Now, this is your life as a slave. Take a look. This is what you're supposed to dedicate your life to. That picture, as I mentioned, is the picture of failure. Now, here's where it gets really sinister. The 60% that you're left with is experiencing this picture. So it's not 60%. They even tell you every year, we're going to debase your 60% by 2, 3, 4%. They tell you, we strive for a 2% inflation rate. What is that? We strive to steal 2% of your 60% every single year. They're telling you in your face. We strive to devalue you by 2, 3% every year, which means that every year your life gets harder by 2 to 3%. The same eggs you bought this year will cost more time. The same eggs you bought last year cost more time for the same eggs this year. The same milk, bread, meat, the same car, the same bills. If it took you 2-3 hours to buy if it took you 2 to 3 hours of your salary to buy food for the week this year, next year is going to take you 5 hours to buy the same food, and the next year is going to take you 6 hours to buy the same food. You will be like a hamster that runs on its wheel, staying in the same place faster and faster, getting tireder and tireder every year of your life until you die. And if by the end of that process you happen to have something, we're taking that too. Or if you pass it on, we're applying the slave system to the person you passed it on. This is insane. There's inflation rate at the current moment in the United States is 3%. It's 8% globally. Monetary debasement, which is printing new dollars, is happening in the US at an average annual rate of 7% and globally 14%. This is the picture of theft. Now remember, every single time a new dollar comes into existence, all of your dollars drop. You realize that, right? So you've got dollars in the bank, in your pocket, you're holding on to them. A new dollar comes into existence, your dollars drop in value. A bunch of new dollars come into existence, your dollars drop in value more. You have no control to stop this from happening. Every new dollar printed drops the value of what you gave your life for. So if your dollars are dropping, what does that really mean is really dropping? Your life. This is the picture of your life. Can you hear it? Right? Your life is being stolen by the money printer. Every time, because the printer, no one has to work. The controllers of the printer, they don't have to put 40 hours in. They don't have to give up their information, their knowledge, their skill, their ability, their energy. They just print at your life's expense. You gave your life last year for these dollars. They're printing and making your very life worth less than it used to be worth last year. When you link money to your life, something happens. Something stirs up inside. You can't stay the same, and you can't unsee this. Every year of your life, you will work harder than the last year for the same eggs, milk, bread, meat, water, etc. Your life won't get easier. It will get harder. People all over the world, especially the United States, they don't understand because they don't understand money. They complain. They say, listen, I don't understand. I did what I was supposed to do. I went to school. I got an education. I got a job. My single job doesn't cut it. I had to get a second job. I'm trying. I'm working overtime. Somehow something's not right. Something is not giving. This can't be the way it is. Why are things getting harder for me when I was told and taught and promised that they would get better for me and easier for me as my age went on? But this is the opposite picture. What they don't understand is this. They do not understand that their life is being extracted from them by the controller of their money. And it used to be so gradual that no one really detected it. But now it's sped up, and it will continue to speed up, and you will feel it more starkly. This is what you're giving your life for. There's another picture of it right there. Now, freedom is here, fortunately. By some sly measure, 2009, Bitcoin came into existence or was discovered and delivers us an option. So this is the theft of your life. Well, listen, I want you to really walk away with this stack. Every 4 years, your purchasing power is guaranteed to be lower than it was 4 years before. So the dollar that you're holding for 4 years is worth new lows 4 years later. You got that? You guys understand that? Guaranteed. This is a mathematical formula. Guaranteed. It's not guaranteed year to year. So for 1 year, it could go up. But never will there ever be a 4-year period where it goes up. It's always new lows in 4 years. Now, what else happens every 4 years with Bitcoin? Halving. Now think about the genius of this. Satoshi Nakamoto, in all of his wisdom, he tied Bitcoin to fiat currency. 4-year guarantee of new lows, 4-year guarantee of new highs in Bitcoin. He made Bitcoin the exact mirror opposite of the slave system. So every dollar that is printed and causes purchasing power to drop raises the value of Bitcoin 5 times the amount. One new dollar printed in fiat raises the value of Bitcoin the equivalent of 5. Every new dollar that's printed drops the value of the dollar, raises the value of Bitcoin. So he tied the success of the item to the theft. The more they steal from us now, the higher, the more valuable Bitcoin becomes. Every time a politician lies, Bitcoin's value jumps. Every time they steal, Bitcoin values jumps. Every time they debase us, Bitcoin value jumps. It is literally the mirror opposite of the theft-based system. That's the picture of freedom. This is exactly the opposite picture of that. It is an exact lockstep. But again, the rise, Bitcoin is guaranteed. Some people disagree with me, but this is what I truly believe. Bitcoin is guaranteed to make you wealthier every 4 years of your life. Bitcoin is guaranteed, not every year, but guaranteed mathematically every 4 years to raise who you are, to increase who you are, to make you wealthier, to make you richer, to make you more free, to make you more financially independent. Every 4 years of your life, forever, without fail, no exceptions. Why? Because never in your lifetime will fiat currencies not hit a new all-time low every 4 years of your life. And if fiat currencies hit a purchasing power all-time new low every 4 years, Bitcoin hits an all-time new high every 4 years. For the first time in the history of humanity, we have certainty. We have something that is as certain as night follows the day. We never had certainty before. Why? Because everything that we had to rely on was created and controlled by men. Every time, and man is an imperfect and will always fail us. Every single one of you have been failed by every single human being in your life. Think about this. Your mother, your father, your children. At one point or another, they failed you. I know. I'm a dad. I'm a father. Money should not be in the hands of human beings. Money should not be controlled by human beings. A global, unified, globally accepted money should be something that for the most part comes from God. For every new dollar printed, Bitcoin's value increases on average by a factor of 5. This on the right is the mirror opposite of the picture on the left, just a shorter time frame. All right? Now, how to become free? This is how I'm going to close out for you. I've come up with something that I've managed to so far through my Bitcoin club, Orange Pill, 14,000 plus Bitcoiners around the world. I'm very proud of that. We have a very unique way of determining who's orange pilled and who's not. And this is something that I pound the table on with them, and I'm going to share it with you. How to use Bitcoin to become free. Now, here's the formula. Every quarter, we have no choice but to work in the current system for the coupon that is attached to our plantation. If you're American, you have no choice. You must give your talents for that coupon. But now we can take that coupon when we receive it and we can dump it into a completely different system very quickly. We receive the coupon and dump it into the new system. By this process, you are sucking value out of the corrupt system and giving it to be washed and purified by the new system called Bitcoin. Now, should that arrow ever go back the other way? Should you go back to slavery? Should you go back to the left? You should always, that should be a one-way arrow, right? You don't get freed from prison and say, okay, so when do I go back? Oliver, but when do I sell back to dollars? Never. Never. This is not intelligent. There's no reason to go back. Now, every quarter, if you make sure that you have more Bitcoin this quarter than last quarter, and you do that for the rest of your life, or for as long as someone is stupid enough to hand over the scarcest, purest, hardest money human beings have ever had for a coupon, you do that trade every single time and twice on Sunday. This may not last. I believe that it is possible at one point in the future that no one accepts government printed money for Bitcoin, right? I believe that that is possible in the future. I believe our time is potentially limited, all right? But every quarter, you make sure that you have more Bitcoin than you had last quarter, and you do this forever. There's no expiration to this. There's no end, right? As long as you're receiving the slave money, you put the slave money into the freedom money, and you never come back the other way. This is my message. Now, if you can do this more frequently, not just every quarter, but every month or every week, that's even better. But a quarter will do. And every single one of you can do this. There are no excuses. But Oliver, I don't really make a lot of money. It doesn't matter. You do it according to the level that you are. If you got to put $5 in or $10 in, whatever it is, just make sure you are more Bitcoin rich every single quarter of your life. And I promise, I believe that if you give Bitcoin 3 cycles, it will lift you out of the old system forever and give you generational wealth that will have your children's 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 children remembering your name. 3 quarters. But Oliver, that's 12 years. 12 years is going to come whether you like it or not. Why not let 12 years come with the Bitcoin than have it come without the Bitcoin? All right? Now, I believe our time is running out. Every quarter have more Bitcoin than you had last. Use every dollar you do not need for this, right? I'm not one of these Bitcoiners. I know some people might disagree with me here. I'm not one of these Bitcoiners that you sit on, you sell your chairs, you sit on the floor, and you live a poor person's life. That ain't me. I'm not doing that, all right? But if I don't need this right now, it's going into Bitcoin, and it's never coming back the other way. Whatever you don't need, all of you have something that you don't need. Just put it there. In 3 cycles, you will be free, in my opinion, forever. This, in my opinion, is a mathematical guarantee because every 4 years, fiat currency reaches a new low, which is a guarantee that Bitcoin reaches a new high, all-time new high, because it is tied to be the opposite. Now, the attack on Bitcoin is up, people. It is not down. Please get this out of your mind. Oh, I think they're manipulating Bitcoin to bring it down, to crash Bitcoin. You don't understand. They don't want you to have Bitcoin. Crashing it brings it to you. So where's the attack? If they want to take Bitcoin out of your possibility of really getting it, what do they do with the price? What do? They raise it as high as possible. If you want to keep the riffraff out of a neighborhood, you don't want a certain type of lower level person in your neighborhood. Do you bring the prices of your houses down? or you bring the prices of your houses up. You outprice the riffraff. The attack is on. And the attack is to take this freedom money away from you. But the attack is not down. It is not to crash it. It is to jack it beyond your capability to do the switch. To do the switch. If Bitcoin can skyrocket high enough, your switch won't mean very much. There is an attack, and it's on the upside, not the downside. I believe that the plan is to take Bitcoin into the stratosphere to where it is only largely available to the really, truly big players, and to give you access through them, their ETFs. The $14 ETF, Bitcoin's 12 million. The ETF's $14. And so the gateway to Bitcoin will now be through a proxy for Bitcoin. If they can take it high enough, you will buy the proxy and stop buying the real thing. And the only door will be through their products. This has already happened. Right now, you rarely, if ever, send money directly to someone. You're sending it through PayPal, through Venmo, through Zelle, through Chase, through somebody. And the future plan is you will have access to Bitcoin through ETFs, through options, through futures, but never directly anymore because we've jacked it up too high. The attack is not to bring it to you, it's to take it away from you. This is what I think needs to be thoroughly understood. Now, dollars for Bitcoin will not last forever. I believe this wholeheartedly. I won't give you my Bitcoin for dollars. I won't give you my Bitcoin for Colombian pesos. You think I'm the only one who will not give up their Bitcoin for $1? Do you think that the numbers of Oliver Velez's aren't increasing by the hour, by the week, by the day, by the month? Ultimately, no one is going to accept. This is Gresham's law going to Tyr's law. Are you familiar with Gresham's law? Gresham's law says what? Which one? It says? No, bad money drives out good money. That's Gresham's law. Bad money, fiat, drives out Bitcoin, but drives it out where? Out of circulation for a period of time. Where? In cold storage. It drives it out of daily circulation because you would rather use the bad money, get rid of the bad money, and hoard the good money. So it takes the good money out of circulation into hiding. This is necessary for a while. Once enough people have it in storage throughout the world, it naturally morphs into Tyr's law. Tyr's law states that bad money, that good money starts to drive out the bad money. And so when medium of exchange, when we start to exchange it back and forth, I'm only accepting Bitcoin. I'm not accepting dollars. The dollars start leaving the system. But a lot of people get this wrong. They don't understand that Gresham's law must happen first. Bitcoin must be stored first before it can ever become a frequently exchanged item. You have to have mass holdings before there's mass exchanging of the item. You can't have a thriving medium of exchange market if no one has it. And don't tell me that enough people have it now. I'm tired of that. Stop telling me that there's a lot of Bitcoin adoption because how many of your friends have Bitcoin? Find them for me. How many of your neighbors? How many of your relatives? Your church members? The guys at your poker club? Whatever. Nobody still have it. So it's still storage time, in my opinion. You will only be able to gain paper access to Bitcoin in the future, which is not Bitcoin or freedom at all. This is something I strongly encourage you to be aware of. I believe the plan is to do exactly what they did with digitized money back in the early 10s. You can't send it directly to anyone. You have to go through some third party. You send money through PayPal, you send money through Zelle, you send money through Chase, but you and the other person can't come together directly. Bitcoin solves this. Bitcoin is disappearing. It's a disappearing asset. Make no mistake about it. The numbers of individuals who are accumulating Bitcoin to never see the light of day, they're increasing by the hour. Your item is disappearing. Get to work. Stack harder, guys. Thank you very much.